We are Witches Who Podcast. How's it going?
It's going well.
Good.
Hey,
Good.
so anything weird happened lately to you?
Yeah.
You?
For me, always something weird. Okay, so I actually was like, oh, it's my turn to say a weird story, and I like couldn't think of anything, and then I realized like it's because my whole life is just weird, and so like normal things that I think are normal are not. But recently, so Mercury's in Gatorade, so retrograde. Sorry. So the communication has been wild, and that literally just popped into my head as to like the solution, not really a solution, but a reason as to why all this weird stuff's happening to me. So I've been getting like my text messages like in really jumbled up orders, and then I think I'm going crazy because I'm looking at them and they're all out of order, and then I put my phone down and then I come back later and it's fine. So I'm like, am I going crazy? Or is my phone doing something weird? Like I've never seen it like scramble messages like this before. Even like voice texts, like I'll get them all out of order and I'll listen to them out of order. And then I get frustrated and I'm like, I don't have time to decipher what's happening right now. Put it down, come back, start over, and they're all in order.
Oh,
So strange. And then yesterday I had like a bunch of messages come through at the same time and I went to go look at them. And I couldn't, like, my phone wouldn't let me scroll past one, but I knew there was more underneath. It was like doing that weird, like, can't go thing, like how when a web browser's all messed up, but it was a text message. I was like, what is going on? Like, there's something about, like, the way I'm receiving messages that is not, like, I don't know if it's just and my phone's brand new. Like, I literally just got it. It's brand new. Yeah. It's great.
well,
So weird.
Mercury and Gatorade always mess up with communication.
Yeah.
And it does mess up with technology, but also,
Yeah.
what's the message?
Yeah, maybe I'm not receiving the message that I'm supposed to be receiving. And they're like, stop reading on, integrate first or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. They do that.
Or it's aliens. Dun, dun, dun.
It's so funny. I saw a meme the other day, or was it? I don't know. I communicate with a lot of my friends through memes, as you and I do. But it was like, hey, literally right now, like aliens are on the planet, but we are all over the place. That the people are like, yes, come, aliens, come get me. And they're like, we're literally like right here and you're not paying attention.
I love that.
I believe that.
I totally believe that. I'm right here. Just kidding. Anyways, so with that, I'm Shelby.
And I am Dee.
And we are Witches Who Podcast. And we have a really exciting, fun episode today. I'm so excited about it. I'm jazzed, as you can tell by my 5,000 pages of notes.
Yes, we need notes to keep us focused.
Otherwise, we'll just wander off into the abyss of whatever
Do you want to
happens.
share with them what we're chatting about?
So today we are tackling the fun topics of paranormal versus spirituality, spooky or spiritual, and kind of understanding the differences. Because recently I have realized that they are different. And in my head forever, I've just kind of looped them both in as the same thing because there's so much overlap. Yeah. But given a little bit of research and, talking to some people, it's also interesting that more people, I think, are more apt. I should look this up as a statistic, but in my small scope of people I talk to, I feel like more people are apt to like believe in paranormal or have a paranormal experience versus being like spiritual and having that like inward experience.
Yeah.
Right. So like, yeah.
So if I may just share something regarding with that, because I went and asked the Jeep Piti Puti Tuti chat. So I asked,
what? Oh, Chat GPT. Got it.
I wasn't sure if we couldn't say the name, but you said it. So here we are. Yeah. So I asked my friend, who's very nice.
Chad. Yes, Chad.
My friend Chad. Chaddis. I was like, hey, just like, okay, you tell me, because I was going to ask the PDFs, right? But I was like, I'm going to ask Chad. And she said, because it is a she, the different distinction between paranormal activity and spiritual experiences. And based on what you just said right now about like a lot of people are like almost like more prone to believe paranormal versus like that was an angel or a spiritual. Yeah. I think it has something to do with this. So a couple of key differences. Okay. So the emotional toll. A lot of times, one thing, the focus is what I wanted to kind of mention based on what you just said. So paranormal focuses on external phenomena and their evidence. Spiritual centers on
Sorry.
and spiritual centers on inner experiences and personal meaning. So a couple of things here that are very interesting is the like spiritual experiences is the definition refers to personal encounters or practices that foster a sense of connection to the divine, the universe, or one's higher self. And for paranormal, it refers to phenomena that falls outside the scope of scientific understanding or conventional experience, such as ghosts and the poltergeists and cryptids or unexplained events. And then the nature of paranormal is often linked to external entities, forces, or energies perceived as supernatural, as spiritual, typically internal and subjective, often rooted in personal growth, guidance, healing, or awakening. And I think what people are more scared of is our going inwards.
Yeah.
And most scared of like personal growth. It's like, I'm not struggling with that. It's not me. It's that person. We're so, as humans, just want to point. It was the ghost
Outward.
that scared me.
Totally.
So
It's the
maybe
ghost's
not.
fault.
Yeah. It's
How
just
dare
like,
you blame them?
grandmother, where are you? Knocking on the walls here.
Yeah,
on the
it's her
fourth
fault.
floor.
Yeah, they're dead and it's still their fault. My God.
I know.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Yeah. And like simple, like I kind of went super simple too. And so I like that you went deeper of like, I view paranormal as more of like you just said, like that outward expression, like it's everything outside of us. So like things that happen to us, like the ghosts or whatever. And then the spirituality is that inward journey, right? Of
Yeah.
exactly what you just said, that healing journey, that looking in the mirror and reflection of our internal well-being or whatever. So, and then there's so much overlap, right? And so that's where I got like, what do you mean they're different? Because the overlap, even like what you were just saying and like listing down things, I'm like, okay, well, how do I differentiate between the inward journey? Because sometimes I feel like I'll experience some kind of activity and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe that is a message for me. Maybe that is a guide. Maybe, so it's like, how do you differentiate through those? But I thought it would be really fun to start off and just kind of share our stories a little bit.
But why can't your guide be Casper the Friendly Ghost?
Yeah. Which I was obsessed with Casper as a child. Loved. I don't know what it was. I was actually, this is really funny too, looking at my bookshelf the other day, and there were two books that I was super obsessed with as a kid. And when I say kid, I mean like elementary school kid. And I read a lot of books. I was reading novels I just loved from a very young age. Like I've always been a reader and a writer. So one book that I love is called Ghost Rider. And I don't remember the author right now, but it's just a really thin little book. And it's about a horse and this girl that's has like a broken back, and it's a whole thing. But it's basically about this horse that has to get put down. And it comes back to her. This is not what the story says, but it basically comes back to her as a spirit guide. Like she sees this horse and it helps her through like different parts of life. And it's a spirit, total spirit.
Yeah.
And I loved this book as a kid. I read it like a million times. I gave it to my grandma to read it. And I was like, Grandma, read this and we'll talk about it. And it was just such a funny, like I just found it the other day and I hadn't picked it up in a long time. I didn't even know I still had it. I thought my mom probably had it or something. And I was looking at it, I was like, I want to read this book again.
Yeah, why
and it's
not?
so funny. So it's like, that is, okay, she's seeing the ghost of the horse she just saw die, but it's also providing her a spiritual experience because it's guiding her through a really hard time in her life.
So it's still the ghost, and she feels, I think when it comes to like to be like a spiritual connection, is when you find that, like when it becomes your spirit guide, is because you find that spiritual connection.
Okay.
Like I just feel like it's suddenly there's like a ghost beheaded walking down the street and you're like, hey, you're my spirit guide. And it's like, I want to kill you.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So it's like what connection, what relationship you have also. So a lot of people that are very into nature have a lot of experiences as well. And a lot of them call it more some of them are very supernatural. I have a lot of friends that are climbers, like rock climbers, and they would have certain experiences, like paranormal experiences. But I was like, maybe that was just, an angel just saved you from death because you didn't fall when your harness broke or something,
Yeah.
But I think it just depends on the person of what is it that you're seeking, and that's what you're going to bring about.
Yeah.
So.
Or not, because I've been like trying to force this whole, poltergeist thing for a while, and it's not happening for me. So,
Oh my gosh, maybe the day we're no longer friends will just appear because I'm probably just like, no, that will freak me out.
it'll just start happening.
Yeah.
Well, I will say things keep going missing.
Yeah. You're like, D, you're coming into my house. I'm stealing your stuff. You're like, is it the paranormal? I'm all like, ooh, look at my new ring. Look at my new candles.
Just a thief.
I know. You're like,
And I'm all having a spiritual experience.
yes. And I'm just stealing from you.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh, that is too funny.
Whoever dies first, you have to promise to haunt each other.
Yes. I have to have some sort of fun.
I told my mom that. My mom sent me this really funny meme the other day that it was like, I want you to make these for me at my funeral. And it's like, they're cards to give out to everybody that attends their funeral. That's a Ouija board on the inside.
Oh, your mother.
I'm like,
I will
this
not
is
get
so
one,
funny.
Deb.
And it says like, keep in touch or something like
Oh,
that.
that is so cute.
Like, I'm so doing that.
Oh,
I'm so doing
yes. Okay. Well, I'll communicate with you, Deb. That's it. I'll use the Ouija just for
Just
that.
the
Only
once.
for you. That one time.
And it
then
better
you just-
work. Okay.
Oh, I know.
Oh, that's so funny.
That is super funny. Your mother.
She cracks me
I
up.
love her.
But she has some good stories too. Some good paranormal stories. Which she's like kind of like me, where she's like half in, half out. Where she's like, I can't really explain this experience, but I'm not going to admit that it was a ghost kind of thing, or like.
But she channels Elvis.
Yeah, for sure. She so does. She won't admit that either. That's my theory though. Because she has so many dreams and they're so vivid about him, or like it's super interesting. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't know. You're tapping into stuff and you're not even knowing it. Okay. Anyway, so paranormal stories. So I used to have this experience when I was a kid that my bed would shake. And it would scare me so bad. And I remember being just like a little kid, like, I don't know, like 5 to 8 between that period of my life, I believe, where I would scream and I would cry and I would yell for my mom to come into my room because my bed was shaking. And I'll give it to my mom, where she never made me feel like, she never was like, no, it's not. No, she never like shut me down.
I love
She
that.
was always like, all right, well, let's deal with it, And then I remember I was every night for a while, and it was just so scary. And I didn't know how to I didn't know what to do about it. I was just so scared. And I remember one time my mom was like, well, stand your ground, tell it to stop. I'm like, okay, you can do that, And I was like, all right. So one day it started to happen and I didn't call for my mom. I just stood up in the middle of my bed and I was like, and I just yelled, stop. And then of course she came in because I'm yelling, stop.
Yeah.
And then I started crying and I was scared and the whole 9 yards, but it never happened again after that.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a good, I mean, boundaries, right? Like my mom teaching me boundaries and empowering me to make it stop, instead of probably for her, she's like, oh my God, this kid's got to stop waking up in the middle of the night. I'm trying to sleep kind of thing. I got to go to work tomorrow or whatever. And that's not true. My mom didn't work when I was a kid, but
She did have a job.
she
to
was
take care of you.
PTA and room mom and all that stuff. So, I mean,
She did have a job.
She definitely went to work, let me tell you.
She just didn't get paid as much as she needed to get paid for that job.
She was very underpaid for that job.
All our stay-at-home moms, we're rooting for you. Seriously. You are not paid at all or enough. Compensated.
You're not compensated for your energy. And maybe in love. Okay, anyways, but but yeah, and so I recently did a regression and figured out that I remember having these dreams.
Okay.
That I was in the Grand Canyon on this metal table surrounded by these gray aliens. And I forgot all about these dreams with air quotations.
Yes.
But and then feeling the table shake because they were working on rocks. They were digging. And that was why the table was shaking. And that was my dream. And for some reason when I went to a regression about that specific part of my life of the bed shaking, that's what came to me was that it wasn't my bed shaking. It was that I was having this dream that was causing like my nervous system, my
How
body. to
old
feel
were
that way.
you? There on the table. Do you remember like your age?
It's the same between 5 and 8 years old.
Oh,
somewhere in
okay.
there.
But you or were you somebody else?
No, I was me.
Oh,
Yeah, I was a little kid.
oh yeah. So when your bed was shaking,
Yeah,
it was right
so
around
weird.
the same time.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and then I would get that feeling. I would like jolt myself awake because you ever get that feeling where you're falling and then you hit and you like, hit and you like wake up.
Yeah. Or right before you hit. Right before
you hit. Yeah,
wake up.
and you like jolt awake like, and you have
the
that like
worst.
dropped feeling in your stomach. Yeah, that would happen to me a lot then too. So I'm like, I don't know what that's about, but yeah, so super interesting that like my brain connected that dream or whatever to that experience in my life. But yeah, I've got, I mean, paranormal, spiritual. I don't know.
And a lot of people do see it like paranormal, aliens, spiritual angels. And if we really get to like the way angels are depicted and the way like angels are depicted, like originally it's just like the only similarity is like the wing shape. Because it's like depicted as like this gigantic like vortex of an eye. It's the angel.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Like Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Giant eye in the sky.
Oh my gosh. No. Oh, it's so
Don't give that guy
funny
wings.
that you say that today. Today, you know how Instagram just sends you random stuff based on your algorithm. I don't know, I guess. But I was like once I was watching like somebody's stories and like that story ended and it gives you like ads. And there was this shirt that I thought about you immediately. And it's Gandalf. It's in black and white. It's Gandalf. And he has a wheelbarrow. And inside the wheelbarrow is the little guy that doesn't have, what's his name? The one that had the ring that spoke like this.
Oh, Smeagol?
Yeah, Smeagol. And he's all smiling. Smeagol is like all smiling.
God.
And Gandalf is his name.
Yeah,
right?
the wizard.
The wizard.
Yeah.
He's all like running with it. It looks so funny. I was
want
like,
it.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, Shelby would totally wear this. I was like, me
so
too,
would.
bro. But
I
he
so
did
would.
not look like creepy.
He was all happy.
Yeah, I was
That's
just like
adorable.
enjoying
love
the ride in the wheelbarrow. But come on, who does not enjoy the ride in the wheelbarrow?
Seriously.
As long as you trust the driver.
Yeah. But they're not just going to like throw you down a hill.
Oh gosh, yes, that
That has happened.
yes, yes,
That's
yes.
super funny. I love
Yeah.
that. But yeah, so now we're gonna get a bunch of Lord of the Rings memes and sponsors and everything on our or put our phone somewhere else. Yeah. But yeah, so like what stories do you have any? I mean, I have like a laundry list of stories that I half believe because I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
was this real kind of thing? But
Do you believe that happened? Like now, okay. Now knowing what you know nowadays with your experience, with your trainings, with everything, do you believe you as a little one, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, that was actually happening?
I don't know.
I'm surprised.
I know.
Oh.
I know. Like I want to say, like half of me wants to be like yes because of how real it felt.
Yeah.
But the other like half of me that wants to be like logical and like connect everything back to like evidence, that solid reasoning would be like, it's probably just an overactive imagination or like my nervous system reacting to a traumatic dream or something I watched, you know what I mean? So it was like, I don't know, but it was so real. And then also like fast forward, 30 years later or whatever, that I still have weird experiences like that where I'll still get these weird feelings of like my bed shaking or I'll get like weird visions, like snapshots of that dream at weird times that don't make sense. So I'm like, how do I, like, why would it stick with me this long? Like it made such a significant impact on me that if it wasn't real, why would it like stick? Or what is it masking too? Like, you know what I mean? Or is it like this was a trauma response of something that happened to me as a child? I don't know. Or did I just watch too many X-Files? You know, like
5-year-old watching X-Files.
that was me. I watched all the Jurassic Park movies too. Like there's not one Christian actually, and I used to have the same reoccurring dream when we were kids of being in like the mine cart.
Oh.
And like having to like get away from
dinosaur?
the dinosaur that was chasing us. Yeah, super weird.
Yeah, the kids will never win. The dinosaur will get to you.
Yeah, every
Everything
time.
else is movies. These movies.
Yeah.
Um,
But what have you had any fun ghosts? Do you got any ghost stories?
oh man. it's so funny because as you were talking, I just hear like bing, bing, bing. But as a little kid, I've always like been scared of the dark. Like I had to sleep. My sister hated it because I had to sleep with the light on. So anytime we went like on vacation and we were in the same room, I was like, the light has to be, oh my gosh, when it was her quinceañera. You know, I'm like, so she's 15. So I'm all like 6. No, let's see, how old is she? She's 8, 15 minus, sorry, I'm making math here. Anyhow, I'm little, I'm like 7. 6 probably at that time, I'm like 6. So, sorry. So, and her quinceañera, you know, she's a teenager. She's coming out into society. And the music back in the 80s, right? And she wants it bumping and the light, like it's gonna go dark and the lights, you know, will be playing like it was just a disco type of party. And I remember I'm like playing with my cousins and just kind of running around being a little brat at like 6 years old. And suddenly the lights go off at this party and I lost it. And this is how much of a brat. I love my sister. I made my mom to turn the lights back on. Oh. It's like in a wedding, you know, like it's at night and the lights are flashing. You know, I make them turn it back on. My sister was so pissed because all these kids wanted to dance with the ambience. And I was like, ah. Until finally, I think my grandparents or somebody was like, we're just going to take Diana home. She needs to go to sleep. Yeah, because and I remember everybody screaming at me. And I was like, no, but I could feel like as soon as the lights went off, I could feel like things were going to get me. I had so much fear over the darkness. And when I was a little bit older, I kind of got tired of it. Of kind of being scared of the dark and feeling, and it was just me allowing energies back then to come close and giving them power because I was so scared until one day, the way my grandparents in Mexico bought this gigantic land to give a piece of land to all of their children. They have 9 kids. So they divided this big land into 9 lots. So my mom actually built the house in the lot that she got, the property, and my grandparents lived. We were up in a hill and my grandparents lived like down the hill. And at night, sometimes she's like, hey, go to your grandma's and drop something off. And I'll be like, no, it's dark. And I was even like 8 years old. And I remember one time I would like run, I'll see, like she will call we didn't even have a phone. I don't even know, but my grandma knew probably that I was going to bring something to her and she'll wait like outside. They'll turn on the light and my mom will see me. I was like, watch me. What if I disappear from going
you never know
down the hill? And one time she's like, you're old enough. You need to be, you know, I must have been 8.5. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. And I was like, I'm not going to be scared. I'm like, so just like you did, like you can stand up, right, for yourself. That's kind of like what I did. And from there, instead of it went away, but instead of going away, it began to, like energies began to talk to me. Oh. So I just felt like communicating back. Wow. You know, some of them of like, no, you're scared, like trying to feed more to it. But then somebody can be, it's like, well, Dee, was that just your imagination because you're kind of have this fear. But it didn't feel like that. And we lived in a place in my hometown. There's this mountain called Cuchuma. And there's been a lot of like alien activity around that mountain. Ooh. We should go sometimes.
Yeah, we should.
Actually, you can climb it, but now it's a whole shebang because anyhow. But there was like a lot of alien activity and UFOs on it and things like that. So there's always been, I always felt also that in my room, I can feel like an energy coming from the corner. But yeah, I think with necessarily ghosts of like, oh, I saw the ghost of something. I think I've just heard way more stories from like my family. Yeah. Like we used to go to the cemetery, you know, many times a year, things like that. But I feel more of like it's been energy. around.
You can feel energies. Yeah.
Yeah, more than anything. But but I've had some interesting. I felt people in my car, like in the back.
Yeah.
I've never seen, and I used to drive all over town, like from San Diego to Mexico at night, like by myself.
Like what's the lady in white? What is she called in Mexico?
Yeah.
It's like
Well, there's La Llorona.
that's what I was thinking of. The screaming lady, right? Is that one? Yeah.
Yeah. But there's between, and when we go to Mexico, I have to take you. In the US side, there's a little bridge that you have to cross to take the road towards like Mexico. And actually, one of my friends said that he saw her. They always say that there's a lady in white. It's not quite La Llorona, but it's like a lady in white that is on that bridge. And if you're coming like at a certain time at night, it's like really dark. And it's really close to like a U.S. Border Patrol site. But that sometimes you will either, if you're driving, you may see her on the side of the road. Or if you pass it and look through your rearview mirror, you'll see her not in the back of your car. Some people say that you see it in the back, see her in the back of your car, but that you will see her like on the bridge.
That's
right?
so crazy.
But I have one good friend of mine that his wife actually was telling me that he's like, yeah, he saw her. He was driving to Mexico at night and he saw her on the bridge. I don't know if he saw her through the rearview mirror. He saw her like standing there in his car, but it freaked him out and he just continued to drive and crank up the music.
Oh my gosh, that is so crazy.
I know.
I say I desperately want to have that kind of experience. And then I really think about it and I'm like, I think I would freak out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I want to freak out about it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, no, I'll be brave. And I'm like, oh, ghosts. I'm going to, I watch all these shows. They're fine. Right. But I think like when you're actually like in an experience, it's a totally different ballgame. Right.
Yeah. And it's so funny that you say that because I actually just visited with my sister-in-law and she was showing me, it was the very first time we were in her house and she was showing me like their bedroom and her bed has a gigantic, they have like what is it called? The closet, the doors are mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
And their bed is right across from that. And they have like a TV and she's like, yeah, here I come at night and just watch all my ghost shows and this and that. And I almost told her and I was like, oh yeah.
Creating portals
It's
over there with those mirrors,
I know.
lady.
I was like, wow, one of these times you and your ghost shows, just keep watching and look in the mirror, see what else you see. I am one to, for me, I cannot have mirrors in my room. There's no mirrors. Anybody that do you have mirrors?
I do. I have a big mirror that's like directly to, like if I'm laying in bed, it's to the left, like against the wall. But you seal them. So like you can do like a sealing ritual. So I seal all the mirrors. And then my bathroom has like a big mirror and a little medicine cabinet mirror that are like adjacent.
Yeah.
And so that, and you open it, I feel every time I open the medicine cabinet, I don't even use it. It's Christian's side we have a double sink.
Yeah.
That's his side of the sink. I don't even use it. And every time like you open it, I feel like icky.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, no, close it. I hate it.
Hello,
like
I'm
you're
coming out.
lining up the mirrors together.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, it's like you're letting stuff escape. I don't like it. But yeah, you can like go and like, I'm sure you've done it before where you cleanse all your mirrors with sage, Palo Santo, whatever. And then you seal them with
How do you
either
seal
symbols.
yours?
I use symbols. So I'll use oil, whatever, like anointing oil, whatever you want it. Usually for me, it's I've been using kukui oil recently. But you can use any oil that you've put Reiki into or energy into, and then you use it and use symbols on each corner of the mirror. And then you seal it with your
I don't know if I seal mine correctly. I've never used the oil.
Yeah, you just use
like crack.
You use the oil to, I mean, whatever intention, right?
That's what nothing has really happened. And we have that gigantic mirror as soon as you walk in. Yeah. But it's so interesting. I always feel like that mirror it's almost like protection.
It's totally like, it makes me feel like it's like a two-way mirror.
Yeah.
I'm like, somebody is looking back when I look in that mirror.
Yeah. But I feel like it's just like looking right across from the door. Like I feel like it's always watching what's coming in.
Oh, I like, that's nice. That's a nice feeling to have for sure. Unless it's like, pushing you out or something, but yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah, it's super interesting too. Like when we moved into the house that we're in now, so this was years ago. I, did my whole thing where I like buried stuff in the four corners of the
Yeah.
house, like all the whole 9 yards and everything. And after you cleanse
Yeah.
the whole house, you do that and everything. And I started to notice between, I think I've told you this before, between my bathroom. So my bathroom. So when you walk into my room, directly to the left is the bathroom, and there's no door there. It's just a big open, whatever, straight into the bathroom, the shower, sinks, and everything. And then to the right is my bed against the wall, walk-in closet, and it's all just open. And so that little corridor between my bathroom and in like my bedroom door, it's like this little like vortex. And you can literally stand there and feel air rushing.
Yeah, I know.
Even
when
when
you
the air
first
is
told
off.
me, I'm just like, oh, there's like a highway. For me, it's like a
It's
energy
super
highway.
weird.
It is weird. Oh,
It's super weird. And it's even like when the air is off,
Yeah.
all the vents are closed, it doesn't go away. It's like a draft, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the windows are sealed closed. Like there's no, like it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. And it literally, it's like wind. It's freaking windy in my room. It's so weird.
do you believe that, or what do you think it is?
I don't know. But then like,
You're feeling it, and you still don't
I
know
know,
if you
see?
believe it.
See, that's my main
Ay,
problem.
ay, ay.
Like I believe it. I definitely, obviously believe in like energy and spirit and everything. And I think that's what it is. I think it's literally just energy.
Yeah.
But I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if it's good or bad, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think it's good. Nothing bad has ever happened. And if anything, I feel like it's kind of like just curious energy
yeah.
where like sometimes I'll get a feeling that like something's here, or
Yeah.
whenever I'm downstairs in my living room, so my house is 2 stories, and I'm sitting on the couch or I'm just hanging out and I'm reading a book or it's quiet or whatever, you can constantly hear like if somebody was walking up, and like you hear footsteps constantly up here. And it's only when I'm downstairs.
Yeah.
You come up here, you don't hear it. And then I started to notice like that's what it was, because I'll be downstairs and like if Christian's upstairs, my husband or whoever, and you hear them walking, I'm like, oh my God, that's what I hear all day long when nobody's home. Like,
Yeah.
and it's literally the same, like, and it's, then I started to figure out, okay, where am I hearing this very specific like step? Because when you step on certain places, I mean, you hear a creak or whatever, and it's that from my bathroom into my bedroom. It's that walkway. That's what I'm hearing all day long.
That's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna have to tell the story that I was gonna tell about my
Let's
friend in the
hear
person
it.
because
Let's
I had
hear
to
it.
do. It's super creepy.
I'm so excited. Oh, I actually have another story too. Okay. I'm so
And
excited.
so we just hang out with creepy people. That things
kind of a
creepy
creepy
things happen too. No, so she has like wooden steps, kind of like what you have, like that. They had moved into this house. I don't, a while ago they had moved, but they have been there for I think a little bit over a year. And they like their kids were like, yeah, I think I see this or I see that, but everything was just very like beautiful. Like I see twinkle lights outside, mom, and they were really little at the time. So she didn't think much about it. There was like a lot of nature around. It was like this beautiful Victorian house. And one time the grandparents had taken the kids, and her husband had gone out to like get dinner, get something. This I'm telling you, it's about 4 p.m. when she told me. This is so creepy. I can just feel it. So he came in through like the garage in the kitchen. She's in the living room. She's like watching TV, getting cozy, just like getting comfy. And she hears the back door like coming through the garage, and hears him in the kitchen, right? And she never turns, and she's hearing all these things. The interesting thing about this house is that it has a little elevator like through the back, also like through the garage. It has a
Weird.
little, because it goes all the way to like the attic.
Oh,
But they have, it's a very tiny, like a 2-person elevator that came in very handy when they moved. But so she heard him in the back, and suddenly she didn't hear him. So she heard the garage, like the door that goes into the garage, open again. So she thought, because you have to go there in order to get to the elevator, it's like in the garage to go all the way to the second floor or go to like the attic, quote unquote, third floor. So she heard the door open. So she's like, he went backside, and she said that she heard the little elevator. Doesn't make a super big noise, but she felt like when it landed, like stop. And she's like, oh man, I remember that I left the guest bathroom light on and I had a diffuser going, and the diffuser had run out of like the oil, and instead of just turning off, it does like this little really cool twinkle sound, and she could hear it. So she screams at her husband from downstairs. She's like, hey, can you please turn off the light? I'm so sorry. I left it off. And put more oil into the diffuser, or just turn it off. She's like, don't turn it off, and close the door. And she's doing the thing, and she hears like, close the door, do. And she just steps upstairs and all that. And she's talking to him. She's like, telling him things. And what do you grab? No. Okay, just what do you grab? And this and that. But she's just kind of like just telling him things. She's not really necessarily waiting for a response. She's not like, why aren't you answering? No, she's watching TV and doing other stuff. And then, it just gets me. And then she hears a car, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, why are the kids here? Like, who is this? Who walks through the front door?"
No,
her husband. Her husband walks through the front door with like bags and all that, and she's like, she's like, he actually thought something had happened, because he said. I didn't speak with him. She was telling me that he told her, you went white, just like pale. Whoa. It was like, I couldn't speak for like a little bit. I just couldn't speak. And it's like, I just started to shake. And then I just started to think, I wasn't thinking ghosts.
Yeah. Like there's an intruder.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, I think we need to get out of the house, or somebody said. And
God, how horrific is that?
He immediately went upstairs, the whole thing. They swept the house. They called the police.
Oh my God.
The whole, like nothing. But when they went, this, it's so creepy. They opened the garage. Like now he's going to put his car into the garage.
Okay, yeah.
And her car is there. There's tire marks in her garage. There's like tire marks, and there's like oil, but it was like if a car had been parked with, and was dripping oil, but the oil was like purple and gooey, not like regular. Yes. And there were like these tire marks, and the marks were almost like a little purple shade.
What the heck?
No, but it's just like, okay, so now they're thinking, did a car came in, a car like, no. Somebody,
that is insane.
So she no longer goes into the little elevator. She put stuff in the elevator and pushed the button to go up. But
oh my God, that is so crazy. I'm curious. Here's my question: did it turn the diffuser off?
Yes,
it did.
Everything was off.
No, it did
Everything
not. The
was
light,
off. And then there was the light was off. The door was closed. The diffuser was off.
That is even creepier.
And the diffuser was off. Yeah. It was super
did they
weird.
check the attic and everything? Like,
they checked everywhere. And they couldn't find, they're looking for somebody. And then they're like, the cops are like, well, there's no sign of forced entry and this and that. And the other thing is like, I heard the garage door. Like I heard the car going. I heard, and they wanted to go and do, because somebody opened the door. So they wanted to do like forensics and stuff. But her husband was just like, I think that we'll have to. So she's like, I'm pretty sure that door was also locked. And it just like, and she's, it was just so crazy.
That is so creepy.
I know.
That's so cool.
It's just so, but it's just like, I thought it was him.
That is
he
wild.
just never responds. He didn't respond like, honey, I'm here, or just anything. She's like, I was just so into my show, and like, I'm not thinking anything of it. He's the only one who I'm expecting.
And it's normal noises that you hear every day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so wild. Yeah.
Going into the kitchen, and they had a dog. I wonder what the dog didn't do anything.
Huh.
The dog was in the house. Maybe it was the dog all along.
But turned off the diffuser and closed the door. And drove a car.
Yes. But the creepy thing when they went into the garage is just like, wait, what is your car leaking? Was your car leaking before? And it's like, no. And it looked almost like fresh fresh oil.
That's so strange.
But
it wasn't confirmed from anybody's car.
no, but the thing is, then they started to think about it. It's like he had his car outside. It never made it into like the garage from like the night before he was about to put it in after he got back in, and they were like in for the night.
So strange.
Yeah.
Wow.
But she
That's
found it
super
very
wild.
significant to emphasize that it was like around 4 something in the afternoon, like not quite sunset.
I'm thinking that it's dark outside, and you said that. You said 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even weirder.
Yeah. You know, she's like, I wanted to test that oil, and why did it look purple? And
Yeah.
so I think she got like a priest to go bless her house after that. But
That's what I would have done too. Yeah.
yeah,
Dang, that's crazy.
I know.
That's a really intense story.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I was like, dang, girl.
I have a weird story too, but when I was a little, well, actually not that little, honestly, when I was in high school or like as a teenager, when I still lived at my parents' house that they still live in, that house is so haunted. I don't care what anybody says, the house is freaking haunted. So like one time, I always remember seeing like a cat, like just a cat running around. And I remember it would like jump from like, my parents' house is really hard to explain because it's like, it's technically one story, but there's a lot of like steps down and steps up and like stuff like that. And like to get to the front door, it's like the house is like built into the side of a hill.
Yeah.
So it's like weirdly tiered. So I don't know. But from the front door into like the hallway that opens up into a great room, there's like a little step down. And I remember walking down the hallway one day and seeing a cat jump off that step and to run like off into the kitchen. And I'm like, that was like an orange cat. I was like, that was weird. And I like went into the kitchen. And I'm like, hey mom, like, did we get a cat that I don't know about? And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, the cat. She's like, we had this full conversation about like, there was a cat that just ran. Then me and her were like, what are you like going through the whole house trying to find this cat that wasn't there? And it was, I know I saw this cat. I know it for a fact.
Yeah.
Like, it was there.
Okay, so you do believe that one.
That
you saw
was
it.
there.
You saw it.
Like I saw that cat, and whether or not it was a cat that was there and just ran away. But I also another weird part though is I don't remember hearing it like hit the ground. Like when you hear it like, jump and like its feet, I don't remember hearing it. I just remember seeing it jump and thinking like that's weird, a cat, but I didn't hear it like go. It's so strange. And I'm not the only one that's seen it.
Oh.
Yes, my sister's friend I used to tell my mom, like, I've seen this, like, do you have a cat? And they're like, no, we don't have a freaking cat. Like, and it would happen, like, multiple people would be like, where's your cat? Like, we don't have a cat. We don't have a cat.
Brought a toy for your kitty.
Yeah, so strange. Like, so weird. And then, well, we've always had cats, but not that specific cat, or they were either outside or, like, a very specific cat, like a Siamese cat or like or a Maine Coon. Like we had a very specific type of cat, not an orange. We had orange cats that passed away though. So I'm like, maybe it's just a reoccurring.
You like the house.
Yeah,
Were your parents the first owners of those houses?
No.
Okay.
The house is old.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a really cool old house.
I can definitely feel last time when I was there with you, I was, it feels a little vibey.
Yeah, it's definitely vibey.
Your sister's rooms felt very vibey.
I know. It's super creepy in there. And I moved into that room when my sister moved out because that house has 2 master bedrooms. And that house, that's a master. And so it has the bathroom attached and everything. And I was like, I want the bathroom, the big closet. And I was like, and it's surrounded in windows. So have you ever seen the movie When a Stranger Calls?
No.
It's a horror movie. It's not paranormal. It's about murderers. But that I would have this like vision of like things looking in on me all the time. And we never had blinds or anything or curtains because it's very private. Yeah. Like there's nobody, you know. So when I moved into that room, I was like, Mom, I need curtains. I need blinds. Like I can't sleep like this. Like so we got curtains in there and I'd close them and stuff because I always felt like I was being watched.
Yeah.
And I hated that feeling.
Yeah.
But she also has an old intercom system in that house. It's old, like it kind of works but not really. It's always been like kind of broken and like staticky and stuff. So
but do you guys use it?
We never really used it. I always really wanted to use it and I'd play with it when I was little, and my mom would always be like, don't turn it on. I think she was like afraid of like something shorting out and starting a fire or something because it was like old and broken. But I would always want to play with it. So I'd always turn it on. And then it also had a radio attached to it. And I remember like flipping through radio stations and like hearing like weird voices and stuff. And I remember hearing one time say my name.
Ugh.
Like as I was like trying to tune it to make it clear, find a clear station or whatever. And I remember hearing my name. And always felt like that was super weird, but also like my name is Shelby. So it's like, could have been a car ad or like, you know what I mean? So like there's other reasons that name could be out there, you know what I mean? Or somebody on the radio's name was that or something. But it was just weird that like, that's what I heard.
Why does the house have an inner?
I have no idea. It also has this old doorbell where you can like change the tone, like, or the tune of the doorbell. And I didn't figure this out. I figured it out. So it's DGAF is the tone of my mom's doorbell. Always has been. And I figured it out one day while I was playing my sound bowls. And and that's DGAF is a very basic like melody.
Okay.
And so usually you drone the bowls by like, you know, sweat going around in circles or whatever. But I was like, I kind of just want to play a little tune. Yeah. So it's like, do, 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 do. And I was like, just playing with it. And I was like, oh my God, that's my mom's doorbell. That's super weird. And I was like, why is this like making me feel a weird way? So then I started Googling stuff, and that same tonal range is said to be like a frequency that opens portals. Oh, and that's my mom's doorbell. Still is. You go ring it right now. It still is. Oh my gosh. And the little like unit where you can like type in the codes to change it is in the hallway. Okay. And right around the corner from the front door. So like there's like a foyer essentially. And then you walk in, go around the corner, and there's the thing on the wall. And I always wanted to like try to freak everybody out. And like and you can go test the tune, right? So I'd go click test tune, and there'd be nobody at the door. You know what I mean? And I would try to freak people out. So I would do, because people that first come over or whatever didn't know that would happen. So anybody new that came to my house, I would do that. And just to freak people out. Well, one time I, you know, just being a snotty teenager, having a sleepover or whatever. And my best friend lived next door, and we were inseparable. She moved in when I was like 6 or 7. And from that day on, we were best friends. Like every single day we'd hang out. We shared one fence, but it was like we both had to kind of like hike to get to this fence. So when our parents wouldn't let us hang out on school nights or whatever, we would just go down to the fence and hang out and play and do whatever. We were on the other side of the fence. Technically,
you're not breaking the rules.
We weren't breaking the rules, right?
I'm still home.
I'm still home. So dumb. It's so funny. But I also think now it's like, why did our parents let us do that? Like, they knew we were there. Like for hours we would do that. But one time she was over. This was high school, you know, we were probably doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing, you know, late at night, watching movies and watching scary movies. I went through a phase where I was really into horror films. I still love scary movies. My husband hates them, so I don't really watch them anymore, but obsessed, like all of them. So obsessed.
I'm with your husband.
Perfect. Maybe it's a Leo thing.
I maybe.
But we were up late, we were watching movies and, you know, making popcorn. It was like late, like early morning late, you know, like 1 a.m. kind of thing. And my friend had gotten up to go to the bathroom and sitting on the couch or whatever, and the doorbell goes off. Well, you have to walk past the unit to get to the bathroom down there. So I was like, why did you do that? Like, haha, so funny. And she walks out of the bathroom and like peeks around the corner, because you can get, it's really hard to explain this. So when you walk into the front door, if you go right, you step down 3 flights into the living room. If you go straight, hallway, dining room, and then you take a left around the corner of the bathroom, and the unit is right there. Okay, so she peeks her head around the corner, into like the foyer, and into like where I am in the living room, and she goes, "Please tell me you did that." And I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, "No, you did that. You're standing right, literally the thing is right above you. Like, you did that." She goes, "No, I did not. But I heard somebody walk down the hallway and push the button." Oh, and I'm like, oh, and my mom and dad were asleep. And I can't get any of them to admit that it was them. To this day, they do not remember this at all happening. But my dad is known to be a little mischievous.
Oh, okay.
But he's also like, kind of like me, like loud and not careful. So it's like, I feel like I would have noticed him.
Okay.
But she heard somebody walk down the hallway, push the button. I didn't hear anybody. I just heard it go off like, haha, you're so funny, trying to freak me out because I do that to people. Yeah. still have no idea how the doorbell went off. And we didn't hear anybody leave. She's like, that's the weirdest part is she heard somebody walk down the hallway, push the button, but didn't hear anybody go back.
Ooh.
You know, like it was just the one set of footsteps and the button push, and that was it. Like there was no like run back to the room.
Did you freak out?
She kind of like ran, you know, like as fast as she could across, because that's the front door is right there.
Yeah.
And there's also a window from like the front porch into the living room. So we're like on the couch, like looking through this window at the front porch, like who's out there, like what is going on, like. Because to get to the front door, it's not like you can just walk up to the door.
Was she spending the night at your house, or was she gonna go? Oh,
no,
okay.
Yeah, right. She's like walking home after that. But to get to the front door, you would have. It's 2 flights of stairs to get up to the front door because it's built. The house is built into the hill, right? Yeah. And my parents' driveway has a gate, and it's a huge hill. Like drive up. Like if somebody were to walk up, you would have heard them run down the stairs. You would have seen them somewhere. You would have seen a car headlights or something because you can't even find the driveway with that. You know, like it's not like a residential neighborhood where you just walk up, play ding dong ditch and leave. Like no way.
Wow.
It was super weird. Super, super weird. So
that's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang.
And I've heard a lot of stuff about like spirit can use electricity, right? Like the lights going on and off and stuff
Very
like that.
common, the
So I mean,
flickering
what's the
lights.
difference in that versus the doorbell or whatever?
Yeah.
So,
Even in the house, I see flickering lights sometime. And I'm like, all right, what's going on? You have limited time in my house to mess because I don't welcome too much energy into the house, especially because our oldest freaks out.
Yeah.
So just like,
and his name is Leo.
And
See, there's a pattern
Leo.
here.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, true.
That's so funny.
True. Man, that's crazy. Okay, we went on to the stories.
I know. I have a lot of stories actually. Now that it's starting to flow, I'm like, oh, I'm remembering stuff, you know?
Yes.
Super weird stuff. But I could probably go on and on.
I have a question.
Okay.
Just because I didn't grow up in the States and I know there's like all these like ghost stories, but I remember my ex-husband, who's from Nebraska, one time we were on a road trip and we were just like really late and driving in like this 2-lane road, and there was a car coming, we can see, but it's late at night and it didn't have like the lights on. You can only see like the little, like the small little lights, but it didn't have like your regular night lights on. And I was like, oh my gosh, you should like flick the lights to let him know that he doesn't have it. And he's like, no, you can't do that. I was like, help a guy out, like flick the lights. Because apparently there was like some murderer or some ghost murderer or something that you will do that as a good, being neighborly, flick the lights and they'll like turn them on. They will turn around and go hunt you.
Oh,
I know.
What?
Yeah.
That's so creepy.
I know. So he's like, you never do that. I was like, dang.
Oh, I'm just in my head. I'm like, oh, that guy's probably drunk. Like,
yeah,
you should probably call 911. That guy's drunk.
I know. I wasn't thinking anything. I was like, hey, that guy probably forgot the lights or what's going on.
Oh my gosh, that's super creepy.
I know.
My mom told me a story kind of like that. It was more of like, I'm sure you've probably heard like at gas stations, you lock the doors, like kind of thing.
What do you mean?
Like when you get out of the car to go pump gas, like lock your doors and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
My mom told me, I'm sure that you could probably find this on the news or whatever. I don't even remember where it was, that like there was a guy that was getting into the backseat of women's cars at gas stations.
Oh.
And like hiding in their car because and then was going to murder them later or whatever, but like kind of thing. And that's what was happening is people were following and flashing their lights because every single time the lights would go on, he would like duck or whatever.
Oh.
And so there was like this whole story about, so like whenever you see people flashing the lights, it's like look in your back seat, like make sure there's nobody behind, like in your car with you.
People flash on the lights, like if I'm going and flash my lights, I'm like, okay, do I have my lights on if it's at night? Or is there a cop or an accident ahead? That's what I'm thinking.
I'm like, there's a murderer in my back seat.
I have no clue that was the thing. They're like, help me. And I'm all like, got it. I'm going to keep an eye out.
And you're like, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That is crazy.
Somebody's died on
I know.
watch.
But see,
not her fault.
So like stories like that. What was that one? I know it's like a horror story from, probably you watched this movie, but what what is the name where you go into the bathroom, turn off the light, and then you
Bloody Mary.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it was like the honey pooch or something. I couldn't remember the sugar something.
So
Bloody Mary.
yeah,
Yeah, you have
Bloody
to say
Mary
it like three times, and
Yeah.
it appears, and you'll
Don't
see.
say it again. We've already said it twice.
Oh, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Oh, crap.
Okay.
Yeah,
for that one.
yeah, that's funny.
Okay, but see, where did that come from? Is that a ghost? Is that like a no? Now that's a paranormal experience, or is that just a ghost?
Both.
Okay, so
I don't know. I think there is lore behind Bloody Mary. Like it was like she was murdered or something.
Oh, it's a girl.
There's a story behind it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
gosh,
a girl.
I don't know why I thought it was like a guy with a hat.
No, it's
Oh.
a girl that was murdered and she's like out for vengeance or something like that. Yeah. And it's usually like I think like every school or every like town probably knows the Bloody Mary story, right? It's
Okay.
always like, like local folklore, right? But it's like every town has a Bloody Mary story. But I feel like I did that when I was in school, where we would go
Yeah.
into the bathroom and be like, let's say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to appear or whatever. And for what? To freak you out. But there's an actual story behind it.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
have to look it up one day.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Curious about that.
Yeah.
So, okay. What else do we have?
Well, we can go on and on about paranormal stories and everything else. But is there anything that you just like don't believe in? Like if you think about like ghosts, I know we talked about that like I think a couple episodes ago where we established that you don't truly get on board with Nessie, the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's an energy, but why does it have to be like a dinosaur looking thing or what? How does it look?
Yeah,
It's like a
it looks like
a dinosaur
in the water,
things,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
Kind of.
I don't know.
Like yeah.
I don't say I don't believe in it. I don't know. I feel like
yeah.
it's I don't know.
If you had to pick like a niche, like that's like your cup of tea, that's like paranormal, supernatural, like you're super into, like what would it be?
Oh, spirit.
Just like ghosts?
Spirit. Yeah, ghosts, spirits. I feel like it's a yes. I think lately more the alien form, but maybe because it's just the energy
Oh, okay.
shifting.
Yeah.
Just because I do when you were talking about your bed vibrating, and I'm pretty sure I have been abducted a few times.
That's kind of where I was going. I was like, I kind of want to do another regression where I'm like, maybe I really was
Yes.
abducted.
I feel like they take me and I'm just like so much resistance or like, return her.
She's too big of a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Let's put her
just
back.
forget it. But because and we have talked about it, I believe in another episode of like the frequency is higher. That's why you go into like this
Like panic
paralyzed.
state.
Yeah. And like paralyzed and you can move.
Mm-hmm.
And what you need to do is like relax in order
so
for
hard, yeah.
for you. But it's just everything is telling you like run.
Yeah, like you're not safe. Doom is happening. Yeah.
I know, but like I've had a lot of times not like what is this when you have like those dreams of like you're being paralyzed by your eyes are you can see everything in the room but your eyes are closed.
Yes.
You know, but you can hear things, you can feel you're like all of that. I know that the brain goes into this like paralysis and you're aware of all
It's like
your
you're under
surroundings.
anesthesia. It's like that moment right before you come out of anesthesia.
Yes, but what I've experienced with this is like, yes, the body's doing something. I see the scientific part of it, but I can feel the spirit around. Like I can feel the energy. I can see things, either creepy or not, like depending. This was mostly a while back when I did not know how to kind of discern a little more. But but paranormal versus spiritual, I just feel like, you know, somebody sees a ghost and then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, it's a ghost. And then it becomes an angel. It's like, it's an angel.
Yeah.
But is it a demon disguise? And are all demons bad? Right? Like,
Do they all try to possess you?
yes.
Like what's their actual role?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, there was a Netflix show. I think it's called Chaos. Is it that one? I think where it has this like the gods and goddesses, and I think there were demons too. Or maybe I'm thinking about, oh no, it was that other show. There's a book, you read it, that had like the demons and the witches and the gods and everything. I just watched the Netflix. this girl. Her name is Diana.
Yeah, the All Souls trilogy. What's the A Discovery of Witches?
Yes,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
they
yeah.
all kind of come together
Yeah.
because a lot of people also fear like demons. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like the overlap too, it's like talking about like a spirit versus an angel. How do you discern that, right? So and like the overlap between supernatural, paranormal, and spirituality. So, both have energy, right? It's
Yeah.
all kind of comes down to that frequency, that vibration, that energetic imprint. And there's so much overlap between like religion too. So talking about demons, like in the Catholic Church, that's a very real thing, like heaven and hell, right? And demons are of the underworld. And, the Catholic Church performs exorcisms, right? So that is a paranormal, that is a supernatural phenomena, right? Or phenomenon, whatever that word is, that the church believes in.
Yeah.
And also like, what is God too? So it's like, if we believe in these energies and these like things that we can't explain, one is bad and one is good. Like, what if it's all just energy? So like, how do we discern between that? And how do we discern between what is a profound spiritual like experience, or Betty Joe from down the street that passed away, messing around with you and closing doors and shit? You know what I mean? Like, how do you know? Like, you know, or are you getting you could decipher that in any way you want. Okay, Betty Jo's just playing around because she's dead and having fun on the spiritual plane, right? She's going to start closing doors and it's going to be funny. But you're over here having that inward journey of like, oh, doors are closing around me. That means I need to rest. Or, like you can interpret it and you can make anything spiritual if you wanted.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, it's just a discernment, and also where the person is. If the person is living a really challenging life, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of fear, a lot of fear involved in their lives. Everything's going to be more scary. So again, the paranormal tends to feed into the fear.
Right.
Versus the spiritual, more of the inward and like the light, if you want to. So we kind of leave it up to all of you listeners out there to discern and be like, okay, where am I today? How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Because if somebody's feeling crappy, more than likely you're going to attract more crappiness into your life.
100%.
Unless you shift that.
And I also think it's super valid that like there's also like lots of different phenomena that we still can't explain too, right? Where like residual energies.
Yeah.
That they aren't even conscious, aren't sentient. They don't know what's going on around them. It's literally just like a traumatic event that happened, how they died or whatever, and they're just like reliving that over and over again. Like, that's horrific. But
I know I'm not sure if I was telling you this or not, or I was talking to somebody. I'm not sure. Let me know if this was you or not. That I had a dream. And in the dream, I'm a little older, and I'm in this house that we live in, my bedroom, and I'm dying. And I have my kids and my husband. They're around. I know there's people in the living room. So more than likely you're in the living room too. But I'm about to die, and they're like the only ones. Like my 3 kids, my husband, and hopefully the cat. But I see. Like I see this scene, I'm watching the scene almost like from above, and I'm like, I feel peaceful. And then suddenly I took my last breath and everybody wanted to start to cry. And my husband started to tell me how we met, because your ear, everybody says your ear is the last thing to go. So I always tell them, like, when I die, I don't want to hear crying. I know you're going to be sad and things like that. Like I want to tell me good things so that I can transition, right? And in things like that. So he's telling me all this, and I'm seeing this like from above, and suddenly like I almost go back into my body and kind of like hear him. And then suddenly I'm, like, have you been into our bedroom? It's like our bedroom, and they have like our little bathroom, and I'm like between the bathroom and the bedroom, like looking, like I'm just standing looking, my body there, my husband, my kids. And now Leo walks out really upset, and like everybody's going through their emotions, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm like, okay, I hope they're okay. And I'm all like, all right, well, where do I go now? And I wasn't going anywhere.
Oh no.
It's almost like I got stuck. And I saw, so somebody committed suicide in our house. Oh. They're totally chill. We're good. They go, they come, they do their thing. They're at peace. But it felt like a guy, and he's just like, yeah, how do we get out of here? And I was like,
You're like, oh, I got a
I
new
started
friend.
to freak out, and then I woke up.
Whoa.
I was like, this is not supposed to happen this way.
Whoa.
This cannot happen to me.
That's crazy.
I was terrified.
Yeah,
I
that's
was,
creepy.
you know, I was like,
I'm gonna die and be
it's okay.
stuck
I
in
can
this house.
come and hunt you and do things, but yeah,
You're gonna have the
I
choice. You're gonna have the choice to haunt us.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to just be like, hey,
I'm
well,
stuck here
I'm
in
stuck.
purgatory.
Yeah, something.
Oh man,
That was creepy. So
that's super. Whoa, did you see that? That was
yes,
weird.
I don't know what that was.
That was interesting. Told
It's
you,
happening in real time.
it's haunted. That is really creepy though.
I know.
Yeah,
Because you're all thinking, oh, she's crossing over. No, I'm here
like,
next
help
to
me,
you.
like, you can't see me.
I'm
What?
doing this
It's like,
ritual. It's working. No, it's not freaking working. I am here. Can you hear me?
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
We're going to have to make a
thank you.
deal, like whoever dies first. Like,
Yeah.
they like have a certain set of crystals. And it's like, if you are crossover, like
Yeah.
push this crystal
this
this
one.
way,
Yeah.
or put, you know, things like
a good
that.
idea.
And then
Yeah.
just to communicate in a way and be like, give me some help. Hashtag
Yeah.
help.
Hashtag help.
Because no,
Seriously.
I was not very enlightened.
Oh gosh. Apparently not, because you've got stuck in purgatory.
No,
That's funny.
I don't want to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But like stuff like that too. Like, okay, was that a spiritual experience or a paranormal experience? Because you had a vision.
That was a messed up experience.
Like, was the person that committed suicide in your house like putting that vision in you? Like, is that how he died?
no, it didn't. This is the thing. He does not feel, he just feels like a lot of sadness. And like, that's why, like, now he has, I've done a lot of work and actually had other people do work. And he kind of goes and comes. It's almost like he goes on vacation and comes back and kicks it and goes and comes. He's a lot outside now. Actually kind of being part of our land and the patrol we have going on. I
did
think
he
he's
die?
fine. I don't know. I never asked him. I figure I didn't want to, intrude or just like
Or he
kind of,
yeah.
I don't think it matters to me at the end. I feel it was in the bathroom though. But I don't know. I don't know exactly. I don't think it would. I think it would just freak out my kids.
Yeah, like we don't really need.
Yeah,
Like, do we
and
really- what do
especially
we need to know
because he kind of lives between my husband's studio and the boys' room. And so if they're like in their room, Leo's gonna lose.
Lose his
So,
mind.
yeah, he's just gonna be like, no.
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow,
That's awesome.
I know. This is
I feel like I
awful.
can go on and on about this topic forever and ever and ever. But I think there's also like a lot of the things that we can't explain. So paranormal is really that outward, like evidence, like things that are happening around you. Spiritual are more of the internal, which they overlap in a sense of you can internalize anything and you can receive messages, right? And there's spirit guides and energy. And there's also like ways of communication too. So like, how are your spirit guides or how are these ghosts talking to you? Like you were saying that you've communicated with this guy, right? That died in your house. Like, how are you doing that?
I just feel it's very telepathically.
Oh,
And we've
Yeah.
seen a lot of that of like, I had this dream and I was communicating with this person and even in like plant medicine, when people do some form of DMT and it's like, I was talking but our mouths were moving. We just kind of knew what we were saying.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it's more of a sense
Okay.
and a knowing when I feel. And that's a lot of how I personally, but again, it comes back to the clairs,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So what, clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairsentient, clairaudience, how you receive the messages and also trusting the messages. So for me, it's just like a knowing and a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me too, it's like, I know, like there's definitely that knowing, but then I also like, no, that's not it. Like, that's not real. No, it's like my brain, it's like gets detached and it's like, nope, this can't
Thanks
be
for
real. And I'm
listening,
wondering too,
and don't
if it's
forget to
maybe
follow
that's
us
more of
on
like
social media
like a
at
defense
Witches Who
mechanism more
Podcast.
than anything else. It's like, nope, this can't be real because if it's real, then it's scary.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely do that. And I get like visions. So like daydreams. if
Oh
you
yeah, I
will.
love daydreams.
Yeah, where I'll just
Well,
like
not
all of
all
a
of them are
sudden
nice, but-
I'll just that's true. Where all of a sudden I'll just like see something where I'm like it was like a daydream because my brain is wandering, but it's
Yeah.
like weird, like
Yeah.
significant too.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's strange.
Yeah.
And then more times when that happens, I start getting these like weird feelings. Like I'll walk up to my car and I get this like weird sense that it's like I can't open my car door, or it's like I just forgot how for a second.
Oh my gosh. I get that sometimes. I was like, what if I forget how to drive?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'm like, am I losing my
Yeah.
mind? Like, you know, so then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, detach. Like I need to
Yeah.
stop like watching too much TV
Yeah.
or listening to the podcast.
Did you ever, and I was talking to my husband, he's like, oh, I do it even now. But I remember when I was a kid, I would just kind of like stare into a corner and just kind of like, face out and just be like, what is to see? What is life? What is it to
I
be
do that
alive?
all the time.
Yeah.
Still.
And then it
Yes.
has this, like it switches you and almost like takes you out.
Yes.
And then it gets to this feeling that you're almost coming out of the body and it's like, and it jolts you back in. It's like, oh my gosh, no. Because sometimes I will do it. I still do it. Sometimes not intentionally. Like I'm just like, sometimes like, what is that? What is that couch? Or what is seeing? What is all these things? And then I have to interact with my family. And I'm all like, are they real? What are they?
Yes, it's so strange. It's like you look at you see everything so differently.
Yeah.
Like it's like almost like not even your perspective anymore.
Yeah,
It's so strange.
it is.
I love that feeling though. Like I love that feeling so much.
It's a creepy good feeling.
Yeah. Totally.
So, okay, in the enlightenment scale, where would we rate that feeling?
I'm pretty high.
Yeah.
Like up there, like 90 plus, because I feel like that's kind of like, it almost makes me feel like I'm a ghost. Like I feel like I'm so connected to everything and also nothing, like nothing earthly, at least nothing solid, but I feel so connected to like just in general. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like for sure.
That's
there.
when you really feel like we are spirit living
Yes.
in a human body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
It's a totally different perspective. And everybody's probably listening to us like, what are these crazy people talking about? Well, maybe one day we should do a meditation or something about it because it's really cool. But yeah, I love that feeling so much. And yeah.
That's crazy. All right. I feel like we've gone
Yeah.
super long today.
Super long today. As soon as I can just keep going. I just want to talk about ghosts and aliens. And
know.
I think my favorite is, I don't know, I love all the paranormal stuff so much, but if I had to choose like one thing that I'm just like, this is my thing, it's totally aliens. Hardcore. I'm obsessed with UFOs. I'm obsessed with anything I can get my hands on about it. Like all this disclosure stuff with the government. I'm obsessed with all the crazy theories, all the crazy species, all the different planets. Like I just can't get enough.
Yeah.
Is it's so fascinating to me. The most fascinating thing to me is that it's so consistent. Like if this is not real, how is it so consistent across the world?
Yeah.
That people are experiencing the same things and channeling the same things and stuff like that. If it's not real and it's a bunch of crap and it's all of our imaginations, then we're all very connected.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had the day I went to book club last week because we just read a book on dragons. And one of the girls asked, like, hey, Dee, I want to ask you a question. It's like, your thoughts on dragons, did they exist or not? And I was like, yeah. And then another one, the girl's like, it's like, I believe so too, because if you see it in like throughout history, it's being depicted in so many different cultures.
Yeah.
How can, just Hollywood put them out there or whatever, So I was like, it's something that they definitely saw.
Yeah.
It definitely lived.
Totally.
So-
And it's also like, I don't believe that anything is like any story wasn't real, right? Like if you think about just like the laws of the universe, like if you can see it, then you can manifest it. If you can visualize it, it's real, or like no memory or no, it's like how you can't dream people's faces unless you've seen that person.
yeah.
So if you've,
interesting.
like, cause that's how apparently your brain works. Okay. So I dream all the time about people I don't freaking know. So
I know.
does
That's why
that
I was like,
mean-
wait, what? I dream of people I haven't seen
Well,
or
maybe
I don't
you have.
remember.
Yeah, you don't remember them, or it's like you've seen them driving their car, just at the grocery store, just like people that you don't. But yeah,
So when you see aliens,
how do you dream about aliens?
saw them at some point,
Yeah,
a part of your consciousness remembers.
yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
I like
Right?
that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
I love that.
I do watch a lot of TV, you know. I do Google a lot of late night stuff on the internet. Now you perverts are thinking about aliens and ghosts. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
What else do we have?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Just the
Okay.
just talking about like that discernment. We were talking about the clairs and like how do you differentiate spiritual versus paranormal. And I think we kind of talked a lot about that. Of like it's really just, you know, your inward journey versus your outward journey.
Got it.
You know, and the parallels between. But if anybody has any good ghost stories, any paranormal stories, even any spiritual stories, shoot us an email, witcheswhopodcast@gmail.com. I desperately want to hear them.
Yes. Oh, we would love to really encourage everyone who has some sort of experience to send them over, because we do want to begin to do some episodes on what people experiencing out there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll read your story on our podcast. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think we should.
Totally.
Yeah, just
So
read
send them over.
everyone's story. It would be so cool, and to let you know you're not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy things happens to everyone else too.
Mm-hmm. So in closing, paranormal is what's out there. Spiritual is what's in here.
Aw,
Right?
yeah, that sounds so cute.
Yeah. Easy way to remember.
Yeah.
Outside, inside.
Aw, should be on a t-shirt. Coming soon.
Yeah. All right.
Sounds absolutely amazing. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We look forward to your stories. And until next week. So tune in, stay curious. Bye. Besitos. Bye.
Peace. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to follow us on social media @Witches Who Podcast.